this project here is, like you said, it's for your phone. You can set it on your desk. I actually want to make one now. I hate to say it, but I already see what I want to change. I want to make these round down here and make it more flowing. But the whole process of this one takes the student, where the first project took the students in just subtracting a tool from a mold body and making a part. This one actually gets them into the drawing aspects of it. MasterCam's Quick Part series has a more controlled environment, if you will, for starting Quick Part. You can choose that one or the standard. I stay within the standard. I didn't really see much of a difference. At least I didn't get that in depth with it based off what they have here. And it just, I go through the whole thing basically in MasterCam itself, so you can see all the commands will work both ways. MasterCam here, you start your MasterCam. It's going to ask you to change your configuration. I'm going to tell people if you're in metric or whatever, it really doesn't matter. If you're in inches, it will stay in inches. If you bring up a file that's in metric, it'll change that. So
hey,
it's going to walk you through. Question?
Mark, hit the plus sign and increase the width of your document on your screen.
It.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, for old guys like us.
I hear you. You're just
Perfect.
well ripened. Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Good job,
Anytime.
Brad.
I need the feedbacks because I have been changing them back and forth at nights and stuff when I've been looking at this. So it's going to go ahead and show your axes and how to create a rectangle. And that's what you start with. It's an 8x6 rectangle as you start this drawing. As you can see, I have it here. So let me start a new drawing. Say no to that. Don't need to save that. And it goes into the wireframe. Again, MasterCam's teaching you to go through this whole process step by step, all the way. This is not an open file. It's create. You can create it for your students, and you can have them do the Toolpath. So we're going to go into wireframe, the wireframe table, and choose rectangle, and we're going to set our information here. Now, real important just to cover this. Their anchor center. They don't want you to have an anchor center. They want you to put it in quadrant 1. And as you can see, the axes are already shown, and what they were saying in the video that you can turn them on and off from this button here, right? Or the hotkey, which is F9, is another one. So we're going to go to rectangle, and we're going to turn off anchor point. And it looks like I might be still in metric. Let me go to configuration. And am I in the metric? What am I in? No, I'm in standard. Okay. It just remembers the last thing I had in there. I wanted to make sure. So back. And then we'll go back to rectangles. And then we're going to go ahead and lock these two. And the width was, let's take a look, 8, and the height would be 6. So 8, tab 6, and you can see that, oops, hit a wrong button there. 6, there we go, and I can lock it in at the origin. That's what they want us to do. And again, from the video before, you learned to fit the screens. We have this done here. We'll go back to the video. Back to the documentation, we'll fit to screen, go to isometric. So again, you can go fit to screen, isometric. And let me get this out of the way here. There we go. And we have the part here. Go down further, they're gonna ask us to work with extrusion. So immediately you're working with 2D geometry, and now you're gonna make a feature of it, and you're gonna make a solid body of it. And so just like any other CAD systems, we create, this is not a dimension-driven program, but it's very easy to put the right dimensions in. I wish we could, but we can modify and change things by scale or changing the value of its entity. So when people say MasterCam isn't parametric, well, parametric is a history. Well, there's a little bit of history what we have in here, but it's not like it is normally when you see it on parametric softwares. Okay, so we have it extruded. It's going to tell us to select the geometry, extrude a body. We're creating a body at 1.25 inches, and the direction they want us to go up. So we're going to see the directions going the wrong way. We can also drag and move this around any way we want. We can get off there. We can reverse the direction, and we can put a value in here too as well. And let's double check. It says 1.25 inches. I'm correct. 1.25 inches. Everything's good. And now we have it in that information. Now their image is solid. I can turn my translucence. If you were in my first one, you would have seen that. We can put on an edge curve, and you can see the edges come on, or you can turn those off, and then it's just smooth. I like it to see with edge curves. It gives me a lot of information that I need to see, and I'll keep it solid for right now. Going back to the PDF, we're going to go ahead and start creating some lines. Now, this kind of made me funny because I used to teach this way a long time ago and kind of got out of it because I use offset so much. But there's things that you'll learn in the future, but they're using this, creating a line command, and they're doing a vertical, and they want to put it on the axis. So they're just drawing it anywhere here, and you can place it on the axis where you want it, and that's what they're teaching you here. So in other words, they're asking you to just create a line, 2 points, and put an offset on the x-axis that we're using, and watch it move. Oh, I forgot one thing. You better make sure you read the information because they want your Z above that, and they want to change your Z, your 2D. I can see it behind there. Right button mouse click, make this 2D, and we want to draw everything at the top of this plane right here. So they're asking us to change the Z value to 1.25 or 26, I think it was, or 25, I believe, yeah, because that's what I did. Let me double check. It'll pick it up automatically. Yeah, 125. Okay. Let me double check, see if that's what they want. 125. Perfect. Okay. Everything's good there. Let me see what else. Where was? Okay. Now we can do the line. Back to the line, we're going to do a vertical line. Any 2 points here, we can place it on the axis at 1 inch. And that's one way of doing stuff. I don't have a problem with that. It was kind of neat that they showed that. Also, just to give you hints up, that you can use offset at a distance of 1 inch, grab an edge that's not created, and it'll create it off that edge automatically. So they're using some techniques that I used to use a long time ago where I don't use, and these are just the fun things that you can learn. So they want you to offset the next one at 3.25. So let's do another one. In other words, draw a line, not offset. They're actually just doing a vertical line anywhere you want. I can do it way out here and put in that 3.25 and it'll move it in the positive quadrant. Apply that. We'll go back here and we'll go down. And the next one, I think it's 4. What is it? Did they give it to me? Oh, they want to do horizontal. Let me see. I missed that one. So that one's vertical. Now we change it so that this distance was 1 inch from there. I lost the distance for that vertical right there. I know it's there. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay, here's 1 inch. The first offset's this one. This, oh, there it is, right, 3 inches. So from the axis, so this one's wrong. I missed that one there. So an easy way to fix that was just know the dimension number. From the edge, we got that there. I'll get rid of this one here. And now we want to do the same thing, but with a horizontal line going across anywhere I put it. And then the value of that, the horizontal is going to be 3.25. There's where that one is. 3.25. There's the first line. Draw another one. The next line is going to be offset it to, does it say, I better not go so fast, 4.25 and 5. Okay, so it's 4.25 and 5.25 in the document. So they didn't have the dialog boxes, they just have it on a sentence here. So you'll start reading these. So if you take a look at that image there, it looks like the image I have there, except there's a blue, and I can change these to blue anytime I want. I'm used to drawing in black. So let me change that just to make it user-friendly for everybody. I don't know if that makes it better to see. And then we would do some trimming, and they're taking you to trim to clean up those entities, and we're going to use 2 entities. We have to create this. Actually, this right here was a little bit confusion for me, but I did trim, and I actually took this. I hate to say it. I'm going to move it over here so I can get the images. It wants me to keep 2 entities. It wants to keep this one and this one, this one and this one, this one and this one, this one and this one. And we bring this back over here. That's the wrong one. Well, Tabby, you can see it. I pretty much have that on my image here with that long line there. I'm not worried about that long line. And I trimmed it up. And it walks you through that and cleaning those 2 images up. And I got one more to do. It looks like I got to trim that back. So I'm going to trim this to 1. I'm going to take this and trim it back to here. Now it looks like I can actually trim this to here if I really wanted to. I guess that's what, no, they didn't do that. But it doesn't matter. And now they want us to put circles in there because it has to, the sound has to flow smoothly. So I'm going to unlock my radius and diameter, grab the midpoint, and snap to there. Snap to there. And it automatically gives me 1 inch diameter with a 1 inch radius. From that point, They just taught us to do a circle, line, trim, and now we're going to go here and do a divide to get rid of that information so it looks smooth going around. So I'm going to go here to divide. I'll choose this to divide that, divide that, divide that, and divide that. Now I pretty much have exactly what I want. Let me change these colors. I got to set my color so it stays that way. Okay, now it's set. Anything I draw now will be blue. And then we want us to offset. Now, offsetting, they're going to select it. They're going to choose that information. We're going to move it. We're going to do a distance of a quarter inch, which it'll and it's going to go both sides. So it's going to be a ½ inch gap there. So let's try that. So we're going to practice offset, chain, select our entity, choose it, offset the direction we want, say move that direction, change the value to 0.25, and go both sides. And there you go. So taking that information, what I really did was took out the center one by moving it. You can see that? There's magenta, and the magenta is the result, and then red's the group. So from there, I'm done. Let's go back to our drawing. So we followed all those instructions. Now it wants us to clear the colors. Clear colors, and it puts it back to its geometry colors. Huh. I did change it to the, it's supposed to be that one. My eyes are getting bad here. There we go. There, now that's going to be right colors. Then we go back in here. We got that information, and now we're going to create some. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've been using MasterCam for 30 years. This must be something new. Had the hardest time with it, but never seen this. Frank, Justin, never seen this before. Maybe you guys have, but watch this. This is crazy. Don't know why they put it in there, but I'm going to do a line here. And it's got to be set to freeform. Okay, that's the important thing. Freeform. Not that that makes a difference, but watch what happens. I'm going to start it here. We're used to going from point to point in freeform, but watch this. If I hold down Shift and move my mouse or click my mouse another time, this little the guy comes up, and I can move this and position it where I want it to start a line. Kind of like an offset. Not bad. So I have it there. So in all realities, I just created that point there. And now I'm going to do, it tells you to go in here. Once you have that, move it over a quarter inch. It wants you to do a length and an angle of a line. So the angle was 70. So I'm going to click here. Oh, back, enter that. I'm going to create the line. I'm going to create another line based off that point there. That's just a point here. I'm going to create this. Let's go 7 inches at 70 degrees. And so all it did by holding down Shift, it positioned a line off to there. I could have used offset. So that's something new that they're showing the kids in this documentation, which I've never known before. It's kind of cool. I'm going to figure out how to use it, but you have to click twice to get out of it. Okay? And so what they're asking you to do now is they want you to grab this midpoint. So watch this. I didn't create a construction line. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go freeform. I'm going to snap to the midpoint, hold down Shift, move this, a minus, hold on, got to grab the bar, and let me unzoom this a little bit so we can get into that. There we go. And we're going to go minus 0.25 now. So I have that same point there, hit enter twice to get rid of it, grab that end point, and come up this way, and the angle is 110, I believe, and I think that's what it is. It was kind of interesting to play with that. I've never seen it before. Kind of a neat tool, but you saw how easy with that. In the past, I would draw a midpoint line like that, right? And then offset that line a quarter inch to get that same thing I just did there, and that's where my known point was, right there. Same end point and end point. I'm going to leave that midpoint. Well, no, I'm going to have to draw it anyway later, so make sure I show you. We're at 120. We're doing good. Now they want us to come over and do some fillets. Now fillets, remember, everything we create in CAD CAM systems are lines and arcs. So now we just created a bunch of lines. We added some arcs. We drew some circles and defined those by trimming them based off the tangency of the line geometry. Now we're going to take two entities and create some fillets. And that's basic, every CAD system has that. So we're going to do this one and this one, which is 0.2 of an inch. So let's take a look. Fillet, set my value to 0.2, and it's going to be this one and this one. So I have that value done. Apply that. I must have two entities on here. Let me check see if I accidentally drew two empty entities. Nope. So let me check fillet. Might not be on trim. Yeah, it's trim entities. That's weird. I don't know why that one didn't go. Did I touch the right one? Oh, yeah, I did. I wonder if they wanted me to touch the circle. I'll just leave it like that. Looks like the noise is going to go back. And then the next one will be a 1.25 radius. 1.25. And following this is kind of interesting how, so you can see it flows together. And as you can see this, it's looking like the original shape that we had here. So what page am I on? 34. You can see that we're creating this geometry just to get it. And I bet most of you already know how we're going to get it on the other side. We're going to make it pretty easy for us by just using a mirror. Gotta get further down. There we are. So we're right here right now. We just did that fillet. So we should just look just like that. And as we go on, now we're going to create some lines vertical. There's that midpoint line. We're going to use that for a mirror line. So as we come in here, we're going to grab the midpoint. I can just grab that point there, move it up, check. And now we're going to do mirror. Now here's what's kind of neat. It says click OK, mirror transform. Okay, select mirror transform. But where's transform? Oh, I got to go to transform and then find mirror. All I need to do is hold down shift if I wanted to. Well, I'm going to get rid of that one and that one. Unselect that. And it populates in my tool wireframe selection. And they know I want to mirror it. And it tells me, what do I really want to mirror it about? And it will be a vector. So they're telling us to choose a vector to mirror this about. And that would be this one. Alt tab, go further down. And then now they want us to trim, again, learn to trim this line up to here. So repeat the process in the 3 lines so we have them. Trim, yeah, one entity. So we're going to come over here, clear colors if we want. We're going to go to trim, one entity. We'll take this one to here, one to here, one to here, and one to here. This actually bothers me because I would rather join it, but I'm following their documentation. I like single lines. I don't like an extra endpoint, but I can't do anything. So they want us to go to isometric to take a look at it. We choose our right button mouse click to go to that view. And now we have pretty much that geometry. Looks like we need a couple more information as we come down and need us to create a line, a horizontal line. And we need to close off this because we're not doing a thin wall extrusion. I don't need these little lines right here. I don't know if it tells you to take them out or not, but I'll take them out. Horizontal here. Yeah, to there. Did it draw it? Yep. Here to here. Done. And I must have mirrored that little guy over there, which I didn't know. Delete that. So as you can see that everything I've been drawing right now has been from Z0 right here to the top here is 1 1/4. So everything we've been drawing has always been up from the top. So if I change that to 0, everything I draw now, we can control and teach students that it is at the bottom. And as you can see, it's at the bottom. Change this. That's a good information to teach your students. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure I'm on 2D, and I'm going to trace this. And look where it drew it. Exactly where my 2D information is, even though I use it as a trace. I use that as a lot of tools. I have something in a different area, and I can do that. Okay, so just to make that clear, that's why we've been drawing easily at the top of this part. Most of you would see it, no images on there. So the next one, it looks like we have to cut this. and we're going to cut to there. So we're going to do an extrusion of 1 inch. So the students already learned how to do an extrusion. Now we're going to do a subtraction from it and actually cut. We'll select all that, check, and you can see that this information is going up. If I come in here and set my value to 1.0, it's smaller, and if I tell it to cut it, it's not going to show anything because right now my cut direction is this way. I just have to reverse it, and now we have the part finished. Okay, looks like it's good. Now we got to build the part. We'll go to the top plane. We need to build some holes, and the holes are going to be 504 thousandths. So we'll go to the top. Right. Okay, we're going to go to the top plane. And again, we're drawing on that top. So I'm going to use that corner to create a circle, lock that value in it at 0.504, zoom in on this, and place it here. Now, one of the this is documentation that's telling us where to do this. I would actually have a drawing with blueprints, give that to the students and have them create that. Because now we're going to have to know where to move it. A lot of students think, wow, how did he know to move it there? Well, because he just designed it there. So he's going to translate that circle in a value and move it at that 0.75 on the X and 3.25 on the Y. So we'll take that, we'll go to translate, 0.75 on the X, and 3.25. Right here, 3.25 on the Y. And it moved it up there. We want to move it, and it's there. How do we get it to the other side? Again, they go to mirror from a vector and move it over there. Now, oops, I didn't hit the right vector. Hit a point. And there it is. So that's what they're going to be telling us to do, is to mirror it over. And when you're done, you have it on both sides. And it looks like we got to cut it through a distance of a ½ inch. So we already know where to go. Solids, extrude, select, change our view. Zoom in on it a little bit. And we check. And you can see it's already cutting. And it remembers the last what we cut, but we want to only go 0.5. This most likely will be for dowel alignments of the two pieces of wood. They want a little oversize on it. You can see that. So how are we doing? We're doing good with time. Yes, 28. So we'll go further down here. That's what we have. They want us to save the file. I should save it because it would be terrible if it crashes. File, save as, quick park acoustic, and I'll call this Mark. That'll be perfect. Just to be safe. Now we'll go further, and now we're going to go to the top plane, and we're going to delete some entities, which would be this one right here. Any of the extra deleted stuff. Now it looks like we're going to do a rectangular shape. That's an all brown, and we're going to use this information for where our phone sits. So this is the information. This is the value. So this is a new command because we use rectangle. This is called rectangular shapes. Rectangular shapes is an outstanding command. I use it all the time because I can do browns, which you can see the image of it there. I can do the single D, the double D, the base, and 2 points if I want. So they're asking for an brown at the base. That means I'm going to lock it in here, and they gave me a value of 3.75. 3.75 here. I guess that's the phone width, and the height is going to be 0.6. Now, this could be modified anytime you need to for the size of your phone. Oops, I need to lock those in. Locking in is so important. 3.75. And nope, 3.75. There we go. And now I can locate it here. And if I accidentally pushed it somewhere one time, I can always select it and delete it. So there's that other cut we have to do. Let's take a look at the cut. So we already know how to do solid extrude cut. So it looks like we're going to do again. What we really need to know is the distance. Oh, we're going all the way through. So we're going to make a hole all the way through this. So we're going to go to solids, extrude, select our chain. You can see right now it's set, not going far enough. Now I can also go through all and not have to put the value in there, and it automatically drops it through. So either way, you start learning to read these distances and control, just like SolidWorks and all the other softwares out there, and we'll select that. So it looks like we got that first operation done. Now they want to add some fillets. and the fillets are going to be on the corners of the box on the outside, and the distance will be 0.1 radius, just to soften these edges up. Man, if you ever stubbed your foot on one of those sharp pieces of wood, it hurts, but it's nice to teach this. So I'm going to grab this edge point, edge, and put in a value of 0.1. You can see it softened it up. Looks like I have 2D geometry down there. I probably do. It's the one I extruded it. That's what I'm seeing. I can take those off. So we have that done. Looks right. I think we're almost ready for machining here. So show us what you learned. Here's the question the students have to answer to continue on. They don't have to, but it's part of the grade. We're going to go to Fit Screen. We're going to do Toolpath, and we're going to start the toolpathing. Good timing. I think I might make this one. So at this point, we want to remove that material. We're going to use some hybrid toolpaths, dynamic toolpaths. Forgot to change my shirt. I had a be dynamic shirt. I was going to put that on this time, and I forgot to change it. So we'll go to Toolpath. This time I'm going to use a router. Undock my deals accidentally with my mouse. Move that over. Toolpath, machine. This time we'll use a router. Since we're in a router, I'm going to use a Techno brand. And Alt-Tab. And it's telling us the size of the material that we want to do. And as you can see that the X is way longer than the normal 8 inches that it was, because they're planning on machining more, you know, like the top and the bottom. So that's what he's setting up. And I got to remember that. So the origin will be at the lower right corner here. And the Y will be 8 inches. Because remember, we did that 6. This will be 24. And 1.25. I don't know why he has 1.26. That's a questionable deal. And that's he machined it. And then he has an offset for your stock origin just to move it over, which is a minus 0.2, and on the Y, minus 0.25. Now, all it's doing is shifting the material over here that your part's flipped in here. This is a, let me turn it on. Sorry about that. This is a bit difficult. I'm going to have to question this just to let you know I don't machine that way. I actually have my part floating in the material. You just got to remember, if you put your origin here, it's going to think that's the origin. So you have to jog your origin into the material and then call it your origin. That's very important. Kind of confusing to a lot of students. So let me save this real quick. This is what I do. And as I use my material as my origin, and I don't have a problem because I put this at 0 just to show you so you won't be confused. I take this, I'll translate that the same way. I would go 0.2 on the X and then 0.25 on the Y, 0.25 on the Y. And now my part is floating in my material. So when I set up my machine, I just find the corner of my material. So Control Z will get that back to where it was. But that's what they're requesting to do here on this documentation, minus 0.2. And maybe woodworkers do that, but I've never worked with that. I nested inside. I call it the Michelangelo approach, where Michelangelo would carve out David in a marble, and he would never keep his material up to the side, or he would have a flat arm or anything like that. So we're ready to continue on. We got the part. You can see that that looks just like that. There it is, and it's sitting there. Looks like he did more than. Oh, he did -2 inches. Did he do a -2 inches? Why such a waste? I'm not going to, that's awfully big. I'm not going to worry about that. Circle mill. So we're going to go into the toolpath. The first toolpath they're going to do is remove the dowel information. And so they want to focus on this. In fact, I'm going to just show the solids and show you how we machine solids. We're going to go into toolpath. Choose all the different 2D routing toolpaths, which is circle mill. And circle mill is one of the greatest toolpaths for doing circle. And I'm going to toolpaths, and I'm going to choose the depth that it's set to. So it sets the diameter and the depth for me. Now my job is just to get the tool, and the tools they're using on this one are flat end mills, 3/8 inch straight bit. So they're using a 3/8. I personally only use a 1/4 on my router bits. You guys can filter this out, choose what you want. It's already defined out. You could choose, oh my gosh, how do you say this? On routers, it's better to cut with a smaller diameter tool than a larger diameter tool, depending on how weak your gantry is and stuff. But that's what I stay with. And it's just like cutting with a table saw. Here's your feeds and speeds they want you to set to, so you can change those anytime you want here. Okay, I'm not going to go ahead and set those. Continue on. Cutter compensation right. They want us to go down to cut parameters and make this right. Then they do not want us to have any wall or floor material, so we put these to 0. And it's important to really look at that document that they're showing here, because they're going to highlight it with circles. And right now we're in the parameters. Right here, the cut parameters. So we went to cut parameters. We saw this cutter compensation. The word says cutter, cutter direction, and it says right, cutter direction, right. And we answer the stock and wall, and it's 0. We just follow that information, and we should be able to get what they want. They want us to have a finish. So we want to hit the finish button, turn it on, and it's going to be the second one. They want us about a 2 thou. I'll leave it at 5 thou. It won't make any difference. And then the retract heights. These are important because now we're into the linking parameters, and it's going to walk you through it. It says linking parameters, set the retract plane to 2 inches. And you can discuss, what does that mean, 2 inches? Well, our top of our material right here, let me go ahead here, retract. Top of the material right at this part right here, from the bottom up, is 1.25 inches. Well, we don't want to retract 1.25 inches. We want to clear that. So we're going to go absolute 2 inches above. So we're about 3/4 inch above it at all times. Looking at the document, it says, hey, your feed plane is a 1.4. So they wanted absolute. We want 1 inch 0.4. 1.4 is just barely above there. So it's going to wrap it down to that point. And what is the top of stock? Well, 1.25. And where we're going to machine it to? That makes a difference. So let's take a look where it says. And it's going to come in here, and it says incremental. They left it at incremental, so I'll leave it there, because if you touch this right, in other words, if we touch the bottom circle and not the top circle, we would be okay. If we touch the top circle, it wouldn't cut anything. So it depends on where you're doing it. And that needs to be emphasized to students, because they will touch the top one and they won't get the toolpath they want. Now that dropped in there right away. I must have missed the roughing. Yeah, turn on the roughing. And so roughing right here, 50%, I'm just leaving the defaults. And you can see that one went all the way in without the roughing, which was kind of cool to see. But if you re-select it, you're going to see a ramp going all the way in there to its finish and leaving about a 5 thou. So we can actually visualize this with, and make it translucent so we can see the tool go in there. In fact, we'll run it, and we'll go to the front view, and you can see it come in there. Back off, that's a little faster than me. And you can see that the tool goes to that depth that's incrementally that I select. So let's go on, oh gosh, 2 minutes. Okay, let's go to, we got that done. Let's do the main cut part. I'm not gonna backplot it. So we're not gonna do the multi-view there. We'll come down, and we wanna get to the dynamic 2D toolpath. This is what we wanna get into right here. We'll come back here to 2D dynamic. It's going to ask us what we want to machine. We want to machine this. And I believe it's the other one too as well. Oh no, we're going to do solid face. I did the, we kill that real quick, clear that out. No, that's right. Let me see here, hold on. So machining, select 3D, we want the face. That's what I thought. This one here. Unselect that. And we got that and this. So I believe they want both faces. There it is. And we're going to go from the outside when we're done here. And they want us to go from the outside. Now, I can preview this, but before we do that, we want to do an avoidance. And what we want is the top. So we need to avoid the tool. And this is the thing you need to learn. But what I'm saying is I want to remove this. This is my machinery, and I want to avoid all this. But keep this tool in a constant tool engagement where my machine, whether I was just cutting on the edge, would sound the same. It would be perfect. So we can preview it. The red is what we're going to machine, and that's exactly what we want to machine here. Check. The tool, again, will probably be the 3/8, I believe. It will, did it say the tool? The tool is a 3/8 straight. So we'll use a 2/8 straight again. Answer this question. It tells you that it will pop up. In here, under the parameters, again, we're looking at feeds and speeds. Not going to worry about it. They're asking us to leave nothing on the wall, but have a back feed of 300. If your machine can handle it, my machine only handles 200 at the very max of its speed. So it will just only do that. So the feed calculations may be off a little bit. Lincoln parameters, again, the whole concept, let's look at the Lincoln parameters. The retract, we got to go greater than 1.25 inches, so I can go 1.5 will be the safe number 2. The top is the feed plane. I usually use incremental because it's based off the top here, and I'll leave incremental here. But they have a different value, but you'll see once you understand these tools and how they work, there's a lot of different ways of using it. This Toolpath is just amazing. Now we can take a look at this. What's nice about this Toolpath is you're able to run in it, and the tool is not burying itself at any point of it. It's keeping it pretty easy. And I know I'm a little fast, so let me slow this down just a little bit, rewind it, and run it, and so you can see it. This tool is a constant tool engagement. I didn't set the value. That's that radial engagement. I can tell it percentage. Hey, I want you to go 11% at all times. So if I have a weaker machine, a small desktop unit, I don't want to aggressively hit this. I may want to control it axial, depth of cuts. You have total control of this in the parameters. Now, this is where I can go a little bit further. We got 9 minutes. So I can control the depth of cuts. I can say, hey, I want each depth to be 1/8 of an inch because my machine isn't that strong. And on the final depth, I'll do about 10th thou. Okay? And so it's going to change the toolpath where it'll only go down 1/8 of it at a time. Let's put 1/4 for time's sake. Okay? And so I'm going to control that now. The cut parameters, here's your step over. I only have, this is 3/8, is a big bet. I want to go 15%. Now I just controlled it down to 15% of the bit. So there's going to be less tool radial engagement and less axial engagement if your machine isn't strong enough. So you have total control, and you'll see it takes a little bit more while to generate. There's so much you can teach your students with this. Sorry, my computer's not super fast. Because remember, I'm adding it. There's like 10 passes. 4. How many would I did a quarter? Yeah, it's 4 passes. Okay, so each one of those you need to control it by just changing those values. And I think that you guys will have this recording. You can see that I controlled that through just settings in my parameters. Let it generate. And if I was to really do this, I would have filtered out the toolpath. You can see how crazy filtering out changes the toolpath. So you can see now I'm controlling depth of cuts. Let's speed this up. And there's one depth. Some machines will not be strong enough. This will work out perfect. So I control the axial and radial. My engagement on my radial smaller and my axial smaller rather than doing full depth of cut. We saw in the video doing full depth of cut because they had a robust tool there. So they want one more. I believe we got to do the slot now. What time do we have? Let me see what I have over here.
We got like 6 minutes.
Yeah. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions? I know this is going fast, but this is the series that you can walk through on and practice with it. So they're just asking us probably to move one over. We got the toolpath. They want us to do the slot. That's an easy contour slot cut. And as I go through,
and I have a question. Can the students do this at home? Is it like a PDF that they're working through?
Yeah.
Frank, you want to get that?
Yeah. So the question was, can the kids do this at home? By all means, they could follow through. They could download the MasterCam Home Learning Edition, which if you don't know where that is, you could email me and I'll send you the link for the HLE. But and you could. This is a free download as well from the MasterCam website, which I could send you that link. And then were you in the first session, Bill?
Yeah, it was.
So all 3 projects are available, and you could have the students go through them step by step. All I did, I gave Mark the link to download this information. It gives you the PDFs.
It's on the chat.
Yeah, it's on the chat down below there. I can send it to you as well, but this is the idea that they can practice at home with the PDF. They can put the PDF, if they have 2 screens. A lot of these kids have game computers, so they can have multiple screens. You put the PDF on one side, the MasterCam on the other. The only thing the Home Learning Edition cannot do is post to like an accurate code, but they could do everything else, and you could take that file and bring it to your school and post it with a real, precision code that can be used to machine. But they could do everything else that you've seen today in the step-by-step.
Okay, and so their home version is basically an education version that they can't post with?
That's correct. It's a home learning. It's HLE. I can send you the link. No problem. But
will it only work on a PC, or can they run it off of like a Chromebook? Is it cloud-based, or is it?
no, it's a PC base right now. And the problem is that it's just too much of a program. It requires a lot of hard drive space and memory. But they're going to need a decent computer to run it, like a gaming computer.
Okay. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Any other questions, Bill?
Does anybody have any questions?
One of the things I like told about before is that this is a MasterCam project done by MasterCam technicians and trainers. So they're teaching you MasterCam the way it should be taught. It's very informative. There's teacher resources you could use for testing. But in addition to this, Titan has converted a lot of his step-by-step curriculum, his projects he created with Fusion, with MasterCam. MasterCam signed him up. He's also doing an aerospace curriculum that's going to be free as well. So the more the merrier, the more projects out there. There's a Immerse to Learn project that's pretty cool too. So makes it more engaging. And then after this project, they have them go off on their own and do something different, but and the same idea, like make a mold for a lure, or another project for holding your iPhone, stuff like that. Mark, that's another great job. Does anybody have any other questions for Mark?
I just read, I don't know how to say his name. It's TB or Tim or T Brumley.
Tom
Tim?
Brumley.
Oh,
That's
Brumley.
Tom.
Okay. Oh, it's Tom. Okay, Tom, I just saw your deal. Yeah, it should be the same thing, because the lines and arcs haven't changed. The offset, maybe I'm guessing that one with that dragging that line over might not on. I've never seen it before, so this has to be something new to me too. But the toolpaths are identical. The way they work, the way we control them, radio and axial, they really haven't changed any of that stuff. So you'll find that 18 and 19 probably could do these documentations too as well. That's all I can tell you on that. I wouldn't have any problem doing that, because none of these commands are anything to me that I saw that might not do it. We got solids. Everything seems pretty much the same.
Jeff's been kind of quiet today. Maybe Jeff's taking a nap, or are you awake, Jeff? Or
What Jeff's this?
Kaczynski? No?
That's not Kaczynski.
Oh, okay.
Is it Kaczynski?
I think it is.
No, that's
Yeah.
not Kaczynski. Kaczynski has a different.
Yeah, he has a different name. He has his name.
Yeah.
Some
Sorry,
other
Jeff.
Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
It's the other Jeff. Look,
I like
thumbs
the-
up. It's thumbs up, Jeff.
Thumbs up, Jeff. But any questions? If not, then let me share this real quick with you. The next one we're going to do is MasterCam's signature part is the lathe. It's a top. And lathe is always fun for teachers. A lot of, this is one of the things that is lacking. In fact, my YouTube videos have, 16,000 views because of lathe. There's not a lot of lathe people out there. And I just love lathe. In fact, you can see that this was done many years back at MTT. Not MTTA, was at, can't think of the name, the acronym right now. Back in Chicago, I did this for them, and it's all a lathe part. This is a lathe part on my handle that we use, and we press fit these. So lathe is really a neat process. But I need to take a break. It's 1:49. I'll see you guys.
Okay.
See website, Mark?
What's that?
Mark.
I can bring it up real quick if you want. Let
Okay.
me see here. Let me see if I can get it up. Where is
Shameless
my
plug for iMark.
internet? Hold on, I got it right here over here somewhere. What the? Here, we'll use it here. I'm sorry, it's just that somehow the screens are minimizing themselves, and under YouTube, if you search iMark CNC, I'll have some videos like how to set up a Haas on Immerse to Learn, some This is fusion work. This is MasterCam. So the next class, as you can see, my lathe work. We get 10,000 views. There's a hunger for lathe out there in education, and when you look at this, it's just like, wow. If I show my SolidWorks, not a lot of views for that information, but just seems like lathe. People are hungry for lathe and education. I think we might have to pick those up, and not a lot for fusion yet. I got 273 there, but when you come down to lathe, 18K, 13K, 10K, 10K. Look at just normal. Where's my normal MasterCam ones? Over here, my speed handle. No, that's where's my here down here. 900 views. These are my MasterCam ones. So there's not a lot of views that people really want to learn about lathe. So that's what I'm glad they're doing a signature series on lathe. I'm actually pretty happy that they're doing that.
Great job, Mark.
Okay,
We'll
thank you.
8 minutes. If you have any questions on this MasterCam quick part, give us a holler, or you could copy the link from the chat down below that Mark did, or up above. And we'll see you in about 8 minutes, Mark. Thank you.
Okay.
Great job.
All right, buddy.